Kia ora, good morning. So, it appears all hell's broken loose between Keir Starmer and the royal family and the King. Remember the other day when the King refused to sign the digital ID thing and Starmer threatened the King and said, "You're only the head of state"? Apparently, he then went to the King and has threatened the King. He's trying to get laws passed that remove the King's power, the King's prerogative. He's trying to abolish the monarchy because he's been told to resign, and because he's been caught breaking so many laws and embezzling money and laundering money and stuff. He's now putting the plan into action, because what's happening is the coalition of Epstein is the EU, NATO. They're realising that they're losing, and if they don't act fast, they're never going to take over world domination. And so because Starmer knows that he's on his way out and he's screwed, he's now directly threatened the King and threatening to have laws changed, which means that the Supreme Court, and that would have to be on Starmer's side, which in that case, the King by law can declare war on his parliament. I don't know if Starmer knows that or not, because they're then threatening the monarchy, which means then the British people, the English, are then, under the rules of the Magna Carta, by rights allowed to take to the streets to fight Parliament to defend their king. I told the King this was coming. I've been saying for the longest time, you need to dissolve Parliament. If you're going to get out of this unscathed, you need to dissolve Parliament, because they are planning things behind your back that I can see that you can't, where they are determined to bring the monarchy down. Netanyahu said himself, I'm reading the book about how to destroy the Roman Empire because we lost the first time. I told the King this was coming. I told the King he could not trust Keir Starmer and the Labour government. Before Starmer tries to do anything, the King can make all of this go away by dissolving Parliament. What I keep talking about, natural law and God's law, it doesn't matter what parliamentarian law or even King's prerogative that they try to bring in, natural law and God's law, they're two laws that cannot be changed. Starmer threatening to change the law so that the King has no control over what the government does, it doesn't matter, because God's law and natural law can't be changed. And the King represents God. He's God's representative. Everything that Starmer is now threatening to do against the King is high treason. He's committing treason in front of the King. His Labour Party are threatening to overthrow the monarchy. This is exactly what I was warning the King about. This is everything that the Queen was coming through, and those codes to warn him was coming. He needs to act immediately and dissolve Parliament. Otherwise, there's going to be a civil war between pro-monarchy and pro-democracy. And the people who are pro-democracy, they're not going to be people who are on Starmer's side. They're going to be on the people of Trump and Musk, who are like stoking the fires. When they had those protests last year with Robinson and Musk was going in saying, oh, there's going to be a civil war, it's just a matter of time, I said, that's not a prediction, that's a promise, because it's already been planned. They've been planning to do this for a long time. They've been putting all the players in position to get ready to strike against the King and the monarchy, and I've been saying for how long? The British Prime Minister has now directly threatened the King. And the only way this is ever going to go away is if the King just gets rid of Parliament, shuts it down. Before any trouble kicks off, before they even try and put any laws into place or anything like that, before they even start the process, the King needs to shut this down immediately. Because now he's not only is his reign under threat, but his life will be as well. Because when the clashes come, when the civil war comes between Parliament and monarchy, you got a lot of police officers and people in the military who are not happy with the king. And then you've got ones who, swore allegiance to the Queen and stuff like that. All hell's about to break loose. There'll be a civil war between the Crown and the Parliament, which is why, with Guido Fawkes and all that, that's why King James I brought in those laws, natural law and God's law. So the king needs to act, because this isn't a joke anymore. I keep saying to him, time is running out. This isn't a joke anymore. His own Prime Minister has gone to the palace and threatened to overthrow the monarchy to his face, to remove him of all rights over his own people. That's high treason. And this will be why I saw him and those 5 or 6 in the dream I had look. Members of Parliament end up in handcuffs. This is why they get done for high treason. This is why they end up getting locked up. Keir Starmer has got Great Britain now on the brink of war, because now what's happened is Scotland have said, oh, well, if Westminster are going to do that, they're not going to tell us what to do. So now they're fighting even more for independence in Wales. And this is everything that I told the king was coming. I warned him this was coming. And everyone thought I was joking. But when the Prime Minister is retarded enough to go to the king's own house and say, you're a relic, which he was caught on video on the recording saying, the monarchy are relics, we need to get rid of them, blah, blah, blah. It's no longer a joke anymore. He went to his house. This is the second time he stepped into the king's house and threatened him to his face. That is high treason. That's an arrestable offence. Why he's not in jail right now after doing all of this, I don't know. But I warned the king. However, no constitutional law is above God's law and natural law, which is why I've been reminding people about these laws for the longest time. The Bill of Rights, the Petition of Rights, all of that, they hold no place when it comes to Parliament and how they represent the people. He's trying to become a full-blown dictator. I have been saying they are trying to get rid of royal bloodlines. They are trying to get rid of the role of sovereign nations like Russia and all the countries that we're talking about bringing their kings and queens back. France, Germany, Russia. We have the Commonwealth. This is everything I said they were going to try and pull off, and now it's happening. The king should have had him arrested on the spot. Why he didn't, I don't know. Apparently he's fighting behind closed doors to work out, the constitutional laws, but he has to remember natural law and God's law. They are the two highest laws in the land that cannot be changed or broken by anyone, not even the king himself. And any parliament that tries to do it are allowed to be immediately overthrown. They're allowed to be taken over. So the king needs to dissolve parliament. His ancestor, King George, did it. He had ran the country for, 3 or 4 years without a parliament. He needs to dissolve parliament. He needs to bring in the Chom de Ploop, the Floof de Floo, the person who's going to work on behalf of the king to be the king's representative to serve the nation for the greater good. It's everything that I warned him about. Starmer was never on his side. The other thing is, what you need to remember as well, is that when he took the oath of office, it wasn't legally registered as him taking the oath of office. He's not legally Prime Minister. And when he stood and took that oath and swore allegiance to the king, because he always had the plan to overthrow the king, it means he's fraudulent in office. His position is fraudulent. He's an illegal prime minister, and he broke the oath that he swore to the king, which makes him a traitor and he can be arrested for high treason. But because his oath of office was never legally registered, he's not legally registered as a prime minister, which means he's a fraudulent prime minister. So all of his laws he brings in aren't legal. And all of the threats towards the king is just, he's an anarchist. He's disregarding the law. He's trying to override the laws, and he swore a fake oath, which means he's an illegitimate prime minister. So you can remove him without any question. All the king has to do is get him arrested. This is all because Starmer's panicking because the plan is starting to fail. And when you fail an Illuminati plan, you end up 6 feet under, because then you become a liability. They'll schedule talk in order to save your own skin. So he's been threatened. He's been told, hurry up. Hurry up and get this done because we're running out of time. So in a blind panic, he's now thinking that, well, the king's weak, the king's useless, blah, blah, blah. He has no respect for the king whatsoever. And now his mask is off. Now it's proof. Now it's actual proof. Everything I've been saying, everything the Queen was warning about, it's all right there. Now he can see it. Now it cannot be denied, everything I've been saying. Nobody can deny a single thing I've been saying now. Nobody can deny my physics. Nobody can deny my mental health. Nobody can deny any of it because it's right there in front of your face. Everything I warned people about, it's all starting to happen. He's actually gone to the king's face and threatened his position as the reigning monarch. Everything that he's been prepared for his entire life, watching his mother, learning how to deal with these people, and Starmer's just thought he can come along and just knock the crown off his head because he's prime minister, forgetting that the prime minister by law represents the king on behalf of the people. So now there's other news articles saying that the people are demanding a general election, people are demanding that he resign, people are demanding that he be arrested. The king, one phone call to his King's Army, and the King's Army are the people who are responsible for, they preside over the Metropolitan Police, and he needs to send the King's Army to arrest the people who are defying the law in order to stand by the king, in order to stand by Starmer, and then the King's Army need to go and arrest them all. He needs to send his King's Army to arrest David Lammy, Yvette Cooper, Rachel Reeves, Wes Streeting, the Ginger, Keir Starmer. He needs to get them arrested. The King's Army aren't just, they're like they're not an army, they're like the King's Police, and they police the Buckingham Palace and they police London and the metropolitan area. They have the laws that preside over the Metropolitan Police. So if any of the Metropolitan Police are to get arrested, it would be the King's Army that does it. So he needs to send the king needs to send the King's Army to go and arrest them all, because they're committing high treason. If the Metropolitan Police don't follow the King's instructions, bearing in mind they wear his insignia on their uniforms, and if they defy the order to arrest Keir Starmer for high treason, then the King's Army can arrest the Metropolitan Police. While the king still has power, before they all team up to try and take it away, to line their own pockets with their laundered money and their ill-gotten gains, the king needs to act immediately. This is everything I said, but I already had those laws in position. King's law, natural law. the Bill of Rights, the Petition of Rights. The king needs to look into those 4 particular laws, and there will be things in there that he will be able to use that will absolutely obliterate the Labour government. He's so desperate now that he's, you know, when you're drowning and you start trying to hold on to other people and you all drown together, that's exactly what's happening. He's drowning and he's desperately trying to cling on to other things, onto other people, and now they're all going to go down together. So it's everything I've been saying. Watch out, watch out, because Keir Starmer's about to get arrested. He's got death. He's got blood on his lips. He's talking about death. He will start a civil war if he has to. There were people supporting the monarchy and there were people supporting democracy, and the people supporting democracy, and this will be why he's armed a lot of those illegal immigrants with the AK-47s, Your Majesty. If you don't stop this now, there will be a civil war. Blood will be shed, and it's exactly what he wants, and all the blame will be put on you because he has the media in his pocket. So the king needs to act now. Within the next couple of days, we're going to hear that Keir Starmer's been arrested and he will be charged with high treason. He's so desperate now, he's literally on a suicide mission. He's kamikazed himself. There'll be no coming back from this now. Now that the king has seen what a treasonous, unfaithful, disloyal leader he is, he won't be able to come back from this. He's ended his career. He's ended his reputation. He's ended his freedom. He'll end high treason. This is why they all get rounded up. This is everything that I said. Everything that I saw, everything that I said. The king will lose everything. They'll take everything from him. They'll strip him of his powers. They'll strip him of his wealth. They'll strip him of his crown. And then they'll try and King Louis the 15th. It's everything I said. And he didn't listen. And this could have all, but the thing is, I would say this could have all been avoided if he'd just listened after I started warning him in 2024. But the thing is, this had to happen for him to see who he was really dealing with. He's going through his own trial by fire. And remember I was talking about the Judas? The king is going through his own trial by fire, same with Vladimir Putin, and they're finding out who the Judases and Peters are. All the Labour members who are taking Starmer's side are Peter, denying him, denying the king. And Starmer is Judas. And he sold the king for his 30 pieces of silver, literally. And now the king's finding out who is and who isn't on his side, and who was and wasn't on his side. Because Starmer was never on his side. Tony Blair was never on his side. The EU were never on his side. NATO were never on his side. They've never been on his side. And I know how that feels. That will hurt like hell. Because these are people that he's bought gifts for. These are people that he's had in his home for Christmas celebrations and for private dinners and for state affairs. You know, like he had Trump and Starmer. And I think he's had like Thale and all that too. And Zelensky in his home. He's broken bread with these people. Taxpayers paid to feed these people in the king's home. He's bought them gifts. He's had them around for, you know, like family weddings and christenings and things like that. He brought them all into his private social circle, and none of them had his back. They were all circling him like sharks and hyenas, just waiting for their opportunity to take a bite out of him, so that when they all bit together, they'd take him down. And it's exactly what's happening. And I know what that's like, because it happened to me. Because he's at the beginning of his ascension. He's still in the underworld stage of his ascension, and now he's got to break out of it and free himself. And he does that by distancing himself from everyone who's now just taken their masks off. His government, he needs to dissolve Parliament. He needs to keep away from the EU. He needs to distance himself from the World Economic Forum and the World Health Organization. He needs to get away from the lot of them, because they have been conspiring for many, many, many years to pull off the stunt that now Starmer is trying to do. And I warned him. But it's because I know how ascensions work. I'm an ascension scientist. And Vladimir Putin and the King and I are at a critical juncture in human development where if we don't pull together right now and band together right now, all hell is going to break loose on earth. If we lose the monarchy, the Commonwealth gets sold off like slaves to the New World Order, and then we live in open concentration camps where they will just start exterminating us all. Like he's making the cuts to the benefits, and that he's going to make poor people poorer, make them homeless, get them out on the street so that they, die. And then, with the civil war, he's armed illegal immigrants with AK-47s. I've showed the King the video. I told the King what was coming. I said, when I was doing the whole Pegasus thing, I said he might be getting ready to get them to use them against you and the people of Great Britain. So the King's only option now is to dissolve Parliament with immediate effect and order the arrest of Keir Starmer and David Lammy and all the people who have been showing support to Keir Starmer over the King because they've committed high treason. And I'm telling you now, the King, I've showed you the screenshot. You need to look to see whether Keir Starmer's oath of office was registered, because the screenshot that I had that I've showed you a million times, they have no record of him taking the oath of office. Even though there's video of it, there's no legal record of it. And he took an oath to swear allegiance to the King, and it wasn't registered. And if he's not registered, he's an illegitimate Prime Minister, and all of his powers would be null and void. All of his laws are null and void. If he threatens you, you know how he's saying he wants to pass laws to remove the King's prerogative and all that sort of thing. If you look up and see if he took if his oath of office, the screenshot, I'll put it up again. If it turns out that he hasn't legally taken office, all of his laws are illegal anyway. Every law that he passed while he's been Prime Minister will be illegal anyway. And then everybody, all the judges and lawyers and cops and that enforce those illegal laws, you can have them charged with high treason and petty treason, which is treason as civil servants. I've shown you. It's all there ready to go, Your Majesty. I've given you all the laws and all the answers on what to do to take that man down. It's all there. So just don't stress. Don't stress out about it. I know you're going to be really upset and angry and hurt, because these were people that you called friends. These were people that you trusted. And now you found out that none of them ever had your back. But I gave you enough warnings for long enough for you to prepare for what they're trying to pull off presently. Strip them of their knighthoods. That's another thing, because remember they have rights as, when they're given OBEs and MBEs and that sort of thing. Strip them of their knighthoods and damehoods, because you get those for being loyal to the crown, and none of them were loyal. None of them have been loyal. They never were. It just gave them extra powers. Check that oath of office thing. And then study the Bill of Rights and Petition of Rights, because you have rights in those laws as well, and they're laws that are still standing. But he can change as many parliamentarian laws as he likes. Parliamentarian laws have no effect on sovereign law, and sovereign law has no effect on natural and God's law. And they're the two laws in the British version and constitution, I mean, we don't really have a constitution, but you know what I mean. They're the only two laws that can't be changed. And the king is protected by those laws, and those laws state with with natural law, Parliament has no say over a person's land, health, body, their voting rights, all those sort of things. And the king is protected by those same laws. You know how everyone has the right to be represented, in a court of law, and innocent until proven guilty and all that sort of thing. That's all part of natural law. You have the right to be defended. Because Parliament can't tell you what to do with your home, how you make your money, what you do with your money, what you do with your body, what you eat, like your relationships with your wife, your property, your businesses, your children, education, all that sort of thing. They can't be touched, like, at all. They're binding laws that even, like, the courts can't touch. And the king is protected by those laws. So I've got it all there. I've handed you the answers. I've handed you the laws you need to look at. The answers are already there, because I had to do all of this to bring justice, to help me get justice for what was done against the same people that are now targeting you. And they're trying to target Vladimir Putin and that at the same time. They've come after all three of us because they know they're on the brink of collapse, and they're desperate. And desperate times call for desperate measures. But because I went first, the answers are already there, Poppet. So take my answers and use them to pass the test, my love. And he doesn't have a leg to stand on. The first thing you need to do is dissolve Parliament and have him and his government arrested for high treason. And then you need to look at whether his oath of office was registered legally. Because according to the Freedom of Information Act, he's not legally registered as Prime Minister. He's an illegitimate Prime Minister, which means no law he threatens you with is legal. No law he's passed while he's been Prime Minister is legal. And all the people that helped him pass those laws are also committing high treason. That's why you need to shut Parliament down, because by shutting Parliament down, it also freezes, like, the Supreme Court in that as well, because then everyone has to be under investigation. I'll do it for you if you want. If you want me to step in and do it, I'll do it for you. I absolutely will do it for you. And then we can bring in together, you and I, the People Before Parliament Act. I'm telling you now, I've had it all set up, ready to go. It's all there, ready to go. You just have to put the plan into action. You just have to implement it. And then you save the world. The wars end. Bad people get locked up. People begin to heal. You would have averted a monumental historical crisis just by shutting your Parliament down and getting Keir Starmer and the people who have backed him arrested. Then you need to look at whether his oath of office is legally binding, because according to the information I have, it's not legally binding. So he's an illegitimate Prime Minister anyway, so no laws he tries to pass are legally binding. And then you need to look at those laws that I was talking about: natural law, God's law, the Bill of Rights and Petition of Rights, because if they came up, it means that there's laws in there that are protecting you as well. So it's all there. I've handed you the answers. So the fact that he's come to your home twice now and threatened your authority is absolutely disgraceful. He has just committed political suicide. He's just kamikazed his whole entire existence. He's going to be humiliated now on a level that will go down in history as one of the biggest embarrassments in political history in the world, in the history of the world. Nobody will want to deal with him once he's removed. But, I mean, if he gets arrested and charged with high treason, he's going to prison anyway. So I'm telling you now, Keir Starmer's about to get arrested. I've been saying it, and now we know. Prince William, he needs to step up now. And not that I'm trying to tell you what to do, but I kind of am. You need to bring Harry in as well. Those two boys, I'm getting goosebumps. Those two boys need to stand by their father like a fortress. They need to fortify Princess Anne, Edward, all of them. They need to gather around King Charles and fortify him and keep him strong. He needs... he needs me. He needs someone like me to talk to give him, come on, you can do this. And I would be able to pull out answers for him and go to his legal team and say, well, what about this? And blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And then we need to surround him like a fortress so that anything that Starmer tries to throw at him before he's legally removed from office, because I know the paperwork in that will probably take about a week or two, the king, it bounces off the king, he becomes untouchable. He needs to be energetically, emotionally, mentally fortified. And I know what to do because I've been there. And Vladdy too. Vladdy's just starting to come out the other side. Vladdy's just started to see. Vladdy has just started dealing with his betrayers and knowing who his betrayers are, the ones who never had his back, the ones who were using him to take from him. So he's coming out the other side. He's come up out of the underworld and he's just starting to find his feet in the earth stage of his ascension, whereas the king is still in the underworld. But that's my realms. I'm the goddess of the underworld. I live down there. And so does he, because he's a Scorpio. So, but he doesn't know how to navigate it, but I do. And the one thing that I would say to the king is don't get angry, take the moral high ground. Always take the moral high ground, because he's poking the bear, so to speak. He's wanting to get a reaction where he can have any excuse to go to the media and say the king's clearly unstable. He's not, do we really want... Because that's what they do. They poke you and poke you and poke you and poke you to get a reaction, so then they can use that reaction against you. See, look, I told you she was crazy. See, look, I told you he couldn't be trusted. See, look, I told you he was a liar. See, look, I told you, he's not fit to be king. And then all their little gremlins and minions and that. I'm just realising that dream I had this morning. All the little minions in that would jump on it. I'm just realising that dream I had this morning. I put it in the description box when I went into that house and all the spiders scattered. And I said it looked like it hadn't been lived in for ages. In the description box I was saying it was having to clear out things from the past and look at things from the past to help birth the future. Well, this is kind of that. Some of those spiders could be like Keir Starmer and his government, Tony Blair, all the people that have worked against him scattering, and me being able to look at the things from the past that have been sitting there gathering dust from the past, like my investigation evidence, and using it to clean house and clear the path. Because all the stuff that I've had there showing the king on social media has all been used to prove to him that they can't be trusted, but also to show him that these are things that when the time calls for it, he can use these to defend himself against his attackers. The king is under attack now, people. I'm not even joking. My social media, my videos and that, I've been saying for how long? But this is karma because he took the side of Zelensky. So, he's getting a little bit of, he took money from Zelensky to sell that house in Highgrove that came from money laundering and child trafficking and organ harvesting and that. So it's a little bit of a slap on the wrist for the king to say, now, look, you need to be more careful about who you do dealings with. So he's paying off, he's paying off a little bit of karmic debt, because I did warn him not to, like I warned him. But at the same time, it's also happening so that he can see who he's really been dealing with. He's had to learn for himself. He's had to learn the hard way so that he can know what to do to make sure this never, ever, ever happens again. And this is why the People Before Parliament Act is so perfect. It's like I literally have just handed him the answers to make sure that once he gets rid of Starmer and the Labour government, what they've just tried to pull off since Tony Blair can never, ever, ever happen again. Because what happens is that what would happen is after I was no longer in government, because it was part of my If I Was Prime Minister manifesto, anyone who takes the oath of office after that as an MP or Prime Minister has to swear to the allegiance of the people by Parliament Act. It would be part of the oath. I swear to uphold the People Before Parliament Act, because then it ensures that the only people who would be getting into politics would be the people who were loyal to the king and the voters, and not their own special interest or foreign investors. It would ensure that the only people that sat in the Houses of Parliament and all that from that point on were people who were getting into politics for the people and the crown, and not for foreign interests. You wouldn't even be allowed to take money from foreign investors, like people like Elon Musk and that couldn't come along and donate like 500 quid and stuff. Donations would have to come from inside the country. So the answers are all there, my sweet. I've told you what to do. And if you need my help in any kind of way, I will absolutely 100%, even if I got the letter to say you're having gajillions in your bank, your boys are on your doorstep, you can leave, I will stay to help you fix this. But you have to trust me. And the thing is, I think I've done more than enough to prove that I'm more loyal to you than everybody who is in your parliament. And if you need my help, you know where I am. Send people to my door. Just give me time to get dressed. I just wouldn't want to have to see you until I'd be embarrassed of the condition of my teeth. But pride comes before a fall, eh? As long as you understand that it's not because I have bad hygiene, it's because I was a victim of, I was poisoned for so long. And then he denied me dental treatment. And then all the drugs and the vomiting and the acid from my stomach. But I'm here for you. If you need me, I will 100% swear allegiance to you and the people of Great Britain and England and all that. I know what to do. I can help you fix this. All you have to do is get rid of him. You still hold the power. He's trying to remove power, but he hasn't done it yet, and that's what you have to remember. Check that oath of office thing. If he hasn't been legally registered as taking the oath, he is not a legitimate Prime Minister, which means you can get rid of him anyway. But if you need my help, I know I'm no one to you. I know I'm just a barefoot Māori girl sitting here trying to dodge my own bullets from your psychopathic government. But I have a lot of power that I hold in the palm of my hands, which is why he's so desperate. He knows he's on his way out. He knows you're listening to me. And he hates the fact that you're starting to listen to me and that you're starting to act based on all the evidence that all the things that I've been showing you. And he's jealous. He's threatened of that. So let's piss him off even more and form an allegiance. because then I'd be the antithesis of everything that he is. And then we can build Britain back better. The 4 Bs. Make it more better. Make Britain more better. That's why he's coming after. I've just been told that I mean, I haven't gotten any formal letters or anything, but the internet seems to be suggesting I'm going to be losing about £400-500 a month. He's threatening me with all sorts. I will lose my benefits. I will lose the home. I will, lose the flat. I'm going to lose everything if he doesn't deport me first, all because he can't stand the fact that my knowledge and my logic and my wisdom and my gift is starting to be respected in very high circles. So I'm a threat to him because now people are starting to see that I was telling the truth the whole time, and that's a threat to him and their greater plan to abolish the monarchy. But now you see with 100% proof that I was telling the truth the entire time, and that your mum coming through and Queen Victoria and Tsar Nicholas and Diana and that coming through to warn you is real. So now you've just witnessed the supernatural is real, and you have just met God. Ah, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. It was all real this whole time. How cool is that though? And you're a Scorpio, so I know secretly, even though you're a king and everything, you're going to find this really cool, because I know, like me, you've got a bit of love for the dark stuff, the esoteric and, the occult and that. I know that you do. So you might not have believed in the dead coming back to talk and all of that, but it's only because the world doesn't understand how they really do it. It's not like a mediumship clairvoyance thing. Well, I mean, kind of clairvoyance thing, but it's more to do with the conscious universe. Tapping into the consciousness of the universe where all time and all existence is recorded, and you have access to that. When you tap into certain frequencies, which I can do living awake and asleep, but most people do it asleep and they don't even realize they're doing it. So now you've just been introduced to the supernatural. Now you get it. Now you see what I've been trying to explain. Now you see it, and that's beautiful, because then what happens is God has given you the answers of what to do to solve your problem. It's one phone call, my sweet, and then it's all gone. All your troubles have been washed away. And then you get to step into the new. And like I said, if you need my help, I'll help you. I'll help you do it. If we can somehow fast track me into being an MP, and then we quickly, because I know all you have to do to remove your Prime Minister is to bring someone in who's a registered MP. So if we can fast track me registering as an MP, and I think I need the backup of other people, other MPs or something in my constituency, then you can bring me in. But I think unless I'm Shum de Ploop or something, you can't bring me in to replace him unless I'm a registered MP with the backing of other MPs and the backing of people, or something like that. Because I've already looked into it when I was considering running for Prime Minister. Because what I was going to do was register as an MP and then help people to help me campaign to fight for a general election, so that then I could run for Prime Minister. The only thing that stopped me is my stomach. But then that dream I had the other day about the new Labour Parliament and all that, apparently according to that, I'm able to do both, like work around my stomach pain and build my school. So now is the hour. Now you know what to do. Just stay calm, don't panic, don't feed into his threats, don't feed into his fear, because trust me when I say they will be looking for any and all reaction that is negative, that is low vibrational, to use against you, to say to the people, look what he said, look what he did. Now we have to get rid of him. So just remain calm, remain clear, and fortify yourself with your family. You need Harry. Harry and William need to stand by you with absolute loyalty and dedication. Differences need to be put aside, because what Keir Starmer is trying to do is threaten not just your position, but William's, Harry's, Louis, George's, Charlotte's, like all of them. This isn't just him threatening you now. This is him threatening your children and your mokopuna, your grandchildren. He's made a direct threat to you and your family and your grandchildren. So now he's made it personal. You defended him against the people of Great Britain. You stood up and you defended him in public, and he's now turned around and done this to you. You need to get him off you. You need to get him away, and you need to fortify yourself with your most loyal people. Any family infighting needs to be put aside, because you are all now being forced to face your government for threat of being overthrown and abolished. There will be no future for William or George or any of them. It'll all be gone. And then what will happen is places like Windsor Castle and Balmoral and that will get sold to Trump and Israel, and they'll turn them into golf resorts, and they'll tear them down and put really obnoxious things in their place. I'm not even joking. So now is the time, Your Majesty. Break away. And if you need me, you know where I am. Just give me enough time to get dressed, because I'm in my Jimmy Jams. The other thing I would recommend, highly, highly recommend, you need to contact Vladimir Putin, because he's in the same boat. I went there first, he went second, and now it's your turn. You need to contact Vladimir Putin, and you need to fortify an allegiance with him. You need to have each other's backs, because if either of you crumble, I'm left on my own, and then I have, my fight will become impossible. So now you know what to do. I know I'm no one to you, but if you're already listening to me, which I know you are, which is why he's lost his mind, Starmer's lost his mind, you trust me enough to know that I know enough of what I'm doing, that I can help you. I can at least help smooth the waters once he's removed, so that the people of England and Great Britain and that don't panic when they realise that they have no parliament left. You're probably going to find that 95% of people in Great Britain are going to celebrate. England especially. And the ones that don't are the ones that are either about to be arrested and charged with high treason, or they're going to lose out financially on Labour being in government. I'm just one woman. I'm just a barefoot mighty girl. But if you're listening to me above your own Prime Minister, that he's now finding all of this a threat, I'm the right person to have on your side. And I'm telling you now, Vladimir Putin will have your back. If they come in, if Starmer comes at you with any kind of military threat or anything like that, you will have the back of people like Vladimir Putin. He's got your back. He's the reason why you haven't been targeted this far. The only reason why Starmer has resorted to these desperate measures is because he knows he's on his way out, And so he's trying to exert some kind of level of authority over you by using threats, because that's what Chris did. I'm telling you, I know how ascensions work, and you're on the precipice, you're on the brink of coming up out of the underworld and stepping into the new world that God has waiting for us. The three of us need to align. Me, you, and Putin, we need to align. We need to become the triangle. And then we're untouchable. Our nations become untouchable. And then you'll find that nations like Switzerland and that will start moving in our direction, because they'll see we're heading in the right direction. And all of the others who helped Keir Starmer try and pull all this nonsense off are heading in the wrong direction. So we get to break away, like like when a rocket ship goes up into space, and they break away. While we're heading up and we keep flying, as we're rising and flying like the rocket, the part that breaks away will just fall to earth. As we're rising, they'll descend. So all the nations that want to rise and live in peace and harmony and live in tradition and hold traditional values and all that, and respect the sovereignty and and their national identity, they will follow in Great Britain and Russia's example. And I'm bridging the gap. We need to stand together. So, I mean, it's up to you now. I'll put links in the description box, but I'll put that link up to the oath of office thing as well. You need to investigate that within an inch of its life. And I think you'll find he's not even been legally Prime Minister this whole time. So every law they've passed are illegitimate laws. None of them are legally binding, which means that all the judges and lawyers and cops and media and that have helped him pass these laws and threaten these laws with people will then also be held accountable as well. They'll all go down together. So there, I've handed you the answers. Now you know what to do. And if you need my help, you know where I am. Just give me a bit of a warning first so I can put some clays on. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō.